So today what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how to make little Halloween tags for like to put on bags of candy for special kids. When I mean special kid, I mean like my nephew and niece, my little neighbor. So I have a few I made and I'm gonna show you how to make them also. And I'll use, like you can see, the little Scaredy Cat stem set. I just love it. I love cats. Actually, you might hear some of my cats, and if you're lucky, you might even see them. So that's one of the cards I made with the set. That's another one. And the last one I made is I actually sent it to Kim. So what I'll do, I'm gonna start with the pumpkin. I'm using different oranges, obviously, and I just want to show you something before is the difference between when you're coloring on craft and on white paper is actually very different. Like you can see, the top one is made on white and the other one is made on craft cardstock. And actually it's exactly the same colors, the same background. I use the like for the green in the spider, the creepy cobweb, I use goblin green, and the purple pansy for the center, and you can see the difference between those two. So you have to, like, obviously it's going to be a little bit darker, but I really like that effect, especially for Halloween, because it's a little bit spooky. Ooh. So like I say, we'll start with the pumpkin. What I start with, I'm gonna pick its YR12. Oh, okay, Danielle, I'll tell you which paper it is. I got it. It's actually a Nina 100-pound smooth desert storm paper. Hi, Kim. She's driving. Don't get into an accident there. Don't listen. So what I'm doing with the little pumpkin, there's very few lines to it, and I like to put more of an effect. So I'm taking my lightest one, which is the YR12, and I'm making like pre-lines. So like that, it doesn't really matter if I screw up, because like all my other color is going to be darker anyway. So I'm just completing the lines, basically, putting them all the way to the bottom and adding some of them also. Just following the shape of the pumpkin. It doesn't really matter if you actually go in his eyes or mouth. It's going to be darker inside, so we won't see it. So I just added a few lines there. So it's just my mapping. I always start with the darkest color usually, but for mapping, I do that with my lightest. So my darkest is E19, so it's a really nice bright brownish red color. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna follow those lines. If I'm shaking, it's my first time doing a live video, so bear with me. Hi, Margaret. And if I'm hiding like the drawing, I'm trying not to, but it's really hard. And the line don't have to be very fine. So just a few lines there. Then I'm going to YR18. I'll try to zoom a little bit in. Hope that helps a bit. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm going to the outside of the pumpkin. So on the left hand side, I'm gonna bring the YR18 towards the left and the opposite on the other side. And this paper is a joy to work with. It blends like, it's really hard to describe. It's so easy. I would just like use Always Craft if I could. Then I go with my third color. It's YR15, so second lightest. Once again, I just blend towards the left on the left hand side and towards the right on the right hand side. So I don't know if you notice on like almost all the example I showed you, the kitties are black. I have something for black cats. So I have one of those. I also have a tabby. So I don't know which one's gonna show up. Usually when they talk, I think they think I talk to them, so they come over. Very curious little kitties. So if you have any question or anything, you can just write them, and I'll try to answer as I see them. So that's the last color. That's the lightest one, so I'm gonna fill a little bit more. And you can see it's kind of like really bland right now, so we're gonna add more stuff. I leave also a little sliver of white, but in that case it's not really white because it's craft, but just to give it a little bit of highlight. So I'm going back to my E19. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull a little like kind of like in between streaks of different length. So it's like little creases in the pumpkin. So I'm doing that from the top and the bottom, but I'm not joining them. And I'm also doing it like from the top of the mouth. And then I'm going back, and those lines, I'm gonna actually stretch them a little bit. Like, so I'm gonna go over them and extend. So I'm blending and extending at the same time. As you can see, it starts to have a little bit more shape like that. So going back with YR15, extending once again. And here we go. Chewy is here. So everybody, you can't see him yet, but you can hear him, and he's quite vocal. So don't be surprised if you see a fluffy tail jumping in the screen. It's him. Hi, Teresa. So it's actually me and Chewy. So what I'm gonna do is, first of all, yeah, he just flopped on the floor. He wants me to rub his belly, so it won't happen for a bit. I'm just filling here with my darkest color, where the cat is actually sitting in the pumpkin. And what I'm gonna do is, like I told you earlier, I'm making the inside of the eyes and the pumpkin darker than the pumpkin by itself. So here there's a line that didn't really show up. So I'm putting the right hand side darker. So sorry, I'm twisting my image there. Now I have to be careful because it's really dark and I don't want to go in the rest of my pumpkin. So I'm just going over the edge basically. And then I'm just blending once again, like bringing it back in. So you see it's kind of narrow, so I'm just using the two color for now, and I'm gonna add the third one at the end. So that's gonna be my lightest in the shadows of the eye and the mouth, so YR15. And I don't know how experienced you are with Copics, but the juicier your marker are, the easier it is to actually blend. And the paper makes a big difference also. So that's my little pumpkin. I think I'm just gonna add a tiny little bit of the lightest one here. I'll keep the sliver of white for highlights, like I said earlier. But it's a pumpkin. It's not supposed to be all smooth and round like a ball. So that's my little pumpkin done. I'm gonna actually put a little bit of grass. So with the grass, honestly, anytime I use grass, it doesn't really matter what green. I just use a few darker and lighter, and I kind of like just smush my pen in like random shape and do little blades of grass. I like to use YGs, like a mix of YGs and Gs, so it gives like a little bit of depth. So right now I'm G 28, doing again under. Then I'm gonna go lighter. I'll use YG63. It's one of my favorite actually. And then again, let's see, it doesn't show much on the craft, but you still see it here. So if it was on white, I would actually use even lighter color, but it won't show here. Thank you, Margaret. So that's just the base. Now I'm going to the kitty, and I have one stare at me. I think he's very jealous. So I'm using, like, I'm just gonna show you like I showed you at the beginning. This one I use warm grays, so the W's with the kitties. The next one, actually I had a little bit of fun. This one I use BV, so it's like very dark purple. And these ones I'm going to use the cool grays just to have a little bit of difference. So once again, I'm going to start with my darker color. I'm using, it's C7. Whoops, sorry. So once again, like I have, my light is coming from this side, he's looking towards there, so my left hand side of the cat's going to be darker. So I'm going around his little face there. I'm gonna go, like, I like to make their eyes pop, so what I do is I put like eyeliner around their eyes. So just like the darkest color, so it makes them pop. I try not to go over the nose too much, so I can actually put color and it will show. And I'll put it on the left hand side of his little ear also. Hi Lori, thanks. So now I'm at it's my C5. So I'm just extending the color once again. After that, it's C3. So I'm gonna fill his left hand side, but I'm gonna leave a little bit of shadow, like not shadow, but highlight on the right hand side, because that's where the light is coming from. And I'm using, hi Rona, C2 to just finish his little face here, so it's much brighter. And it's funny because Rona and I, like, we used to live in Halifax, both of us, and I moved, but we used to craft together, and now Danielle, I craft with her here, so it's kind of fun to see people here. Like, I'm in Montreal and I have friends that I know from different places, so it's kind of cool. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use, it's called it's Staedtler 3 Plus Fine Liner. It's a trick that Danielle actually showed me. It's for very small detail. It's so much easier, like the you can see the point is very, very fine. So I can do the little details like that, and I don't mess it up. The only thing you have to be careful about that one is, like, the blender won't affect it. Once you put it down, it's down and you're stuck with it. So just using it for the little piece of hair, and it is compatible with Copics, so it works like great with it. So what I'm gonna do is for his little paws, I'm just gonna do the shape with the pen because it's so much easier, and like there's so tiny his little claws, so just doing that this way. You can see it. I'm not coloring the top because I want it to be lighter, so I'm just gonna do smidgen of my C7 here, not too much. Then I'm gonna go with the C5 and with the C3. So see how with the pen you can still see his claws, so that works perfectly. Oops. So what I'm doing next is his eyes. So I'm using, it's a Copic liner, it's 0.3. You can use whatever you have. I like his eyes to be like much darker, like because I stamped in brown. I like stamping in brown when I'm on craft cardstock. So I'm putting his pupil black. So like that, they show up a lot more. And what I'm doing, I'm just gonna get rid of a little bit of things. I'm gonna give him green eyes. So I'm starting with, it's G29. And I'm going around. I'm trying not to go in the empty spot on his pupil, but it doesn't really matter because like I'm gonna use a white gel. So just G29, a little bit around. Then I'm going with, it's G09. G03. And I'm finishing with YG61. Hi, Audra. And I'm leaving some space. Like when a cat is looking really to a side, you're gonna see a little bit of white. Because I'm on craft, I can't, it's like there's no white. So what I'm gonna do is use just a pencil and add the white that way. So that's what makes his eye pop like that. I don't know if you can see the difference between one eye and the other, but I can hear. Don't forget though that once you put a pencil down, you can't go back with your Copic. It can kind of ruin the tips, so I always do it at the end. And I can put the little white dots, like I was telling you, right in here. So now the little guy is all done, but we're not done though. So what I'm gonna do, because I didn't take the stem station, or I'm not too sure what it's called, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm using my stem positioner. So what I'm doing is I put a little bit of tape behind my card. I'm just gonna sorry there, I'm trying to zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm putting the little guy there, and that's their creepy cobweb stencil. It's fabulous. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just doing it a little bit like it's not centered on him, like I'm putting the piece there. And I'm gonna start with my goblin green on the outside, and I put my little pads right behind. I made a little handle with the bottle of wine. So just smear a little bit of the goblin green. Such a bright, nice color. So I'm gonna do the edge. And since it's not perfect with the my setup, I have to still hold the stencil and the paper so it doesn't move on me. I won't use the whole paper, so I'm gonna cut it later anyway. And I forgot to put my little mask in. So I already drew some masks, so I'm just gonna pop it over my little cat, so all that effort is not wasted. There you go. As you can see, you can still move a bit. I actually never used a stencil before I started with the Kraftin Kimmie. So there's some of the other DTs that are much better than me at doing this. So I'm done with the goblin green, and I'm gonna do purple in the middle, because purple's pretty. So I'm gonna blend it with the green to make a transition. And you can see how easy like this image and quick it is to color. I just love them. They're so whimsical and so cute. So I'm just making it a bit darker. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm gonna remove all of this. And we have our little kitty here. So I'll just remove the tape. And when I remove the mask, ta-da! So you can see like it didn't extend here. So anyway, I'm gonna cut it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you a bit, like you see all those shapes. I actually had have a cricut maker, and it was one of the shape. And after that I figured, well, I can do that. So you just cut it any which way. It's pretty easy. So what I'm gonna do is I have a tiny little cutter. So I'm gonna use any shape I want. That's pretty much it. There's no secret or anything. Now obviously I'm trying not to cut the kitty. And I'm gonna try to leave a spot to write a little a sentiment. So see, I like that shape, so that's what I'm gonna do. What I have to do though is I have to fix the back because there's nothing here. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking Goblin Green again, and I'm just gonna like kind of extend it here, so it doesn't seem so like such a harsh stop. And that's much better like that. And to mat it, what I do is I take a piece of paper. I use purple in that case. And I want to, okay, I'm putting glue, not glue, but the tape runner around the edge. And I'm putting my cat down, and I'm taking my cutter again and cutting a nice edge. It's like kind of cheating. Don't need a die cut for that. And here you go. What I do, I want to add a sentiment. So I can actually go either I use the little sentiment that come with the Scaredy Cat. Like you can see, I keep my stencil close by so I don't have to look for them. Or I can use the Pumpkin Kiss that was just like you saw new previews today. So I think I'll do a little boo. So I'll use this one. I know I'm off camera here, but I'm gonna use Marvelous Mocha very dark brown. I want it to pop on that image. So I inked it, and then I'll just put it right here. And let's not forget, we're gonna put a ribbon. So I forgot to get that out. So I have that big, I think it's crocodile or whatever it's called. I can't remember. It does look like a crocodile though. So I'll just put the hole in here. Doesn't really matter where you put it. And I have that fun, I actually have a little green ribbon, and I just insert it in the hole. And make a single knot there. And let's not forget the dots. My favorite part. I love those dots. So, and I'm a big freak of the number 3, or odd numbers. So I always put 3 dots everywhere, on all the cards I make. So I just pick, it doesn't really matter. And I usually have 3 different colors, 3 different size, and 3 different colors. So let's do purple again. And I try to put them so they're not exactly equal, so it gives a little bit of interest. So that's my little tag. So I hope you like it. So since I did that pretty quick, I actually have another one set up. So this one is the little flying cat. With this one, if you want to give me colors, like I originally colored him in more like orangey colors, but if you want different colors, you can certainly tell me. I hope there's still people here watching. So any other color than orangey, or you're happy with that? Oh, one thing I forgot to do on my little guy. Forgot his nose. Once again, I cheat, and I use the marker, like the fine line, and it actually kind of go over darker color, so it's not too bad. So any color? No? Okay, so what I'll do, I'll start with the broom, and then I'll go to the cat after. So this is a E57. So once again, he's going towards the light, so it's going to be darker in the back. And a little bit of shadow by his body. After that, E35. So just extending once again. And see how it blends really nicely. And I finished with E34. And we can't really see like a lot of contrast, so I'm just gonna use a very dark brown. So I'm just gonna add E59. Now that looks better a bit. And going with E35. Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna zoom in a bit. And finish with the E34 again. I'm gonna do the broom, like the bottom part of the broom. Can't remember what it's called. I'm not seeing any comments though. I don't know if it's because I don't have any. So E39, and I'll do a little bit like hair, so just like flicks, different length, different size, and from the bottom also, just following the general shape. And let's not forget right here, so now it's wire 24, extending once again, top to bottom, bottom to top. And I'm using Y35 to just brighten everything. Since there's lots of room, like I'm just gonna add some more flicks. And I'm gonna finish with the Y35 again. So right now, like I said, I have a hard time. I think my comments are not popping or something. Hi, Kimberly. Oh, Audra? I didn't see that. Yeah, your son likes the cat. That's awesome. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get any other colors. So for the cat, so I'm just gonna go with my orange, what I decided at first to do. So I'm starting with E09. Once again, it's a very dark but reddish brown, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna like start the right hand side just like the other cat, honestly, except you see a little bit more body. So on the left hand side around his eyes to make them pop out once again. I think they have such big eyes that like I want to make them look even bigger. So like I say, I'm trying not to go on his nose. So that was E09. After that, YR14. So just blending. And going to Y38, so it's going to be orangey yellow cat. I'll go back. The colors are just a little bit flat. So finish with the lightest color and then I'll go back once again. So give him a little bit more of a pop. So once again, E09. Whoops. YR14. And you can see I actually went into his eye. I'll show you what I do to erase or somewhat erase the cat. I'm taking my colorless blender, so it's just a 0. It's gonna be a little bit loud though. What I do is I actually push the color towards where it is, like I don't want it in the eye, so I push towards there and I use my heat gun and right away I dry it, so like that it doesn't have time to creep back in, and I can do that a few times and you already see the difference. So I know he's upside down, but so do it another time and it should be just fine. So I don't know if you see the difference. Like I had quite a bit of orange in his eye. Now it's barely there. And since I'm gonna put white over it, like I did to the other cat, it won't show. Orange and black? Okay, I can do that. We'll put little patches of black after. Yeah. So I just saw that Sheila, so and with this one I'm gonna cheat again with the fine liner because there's very small details. So where his paw is, his little claws, so all the lines I'm gonna use actually the marker, because the fine liner, I mean, because it's really hard to do. And I'll add the little hair that goes extra like that. And I still so I'll just put a little bit of color, but under his neck's gonna be darker. Obviously, is the paw that's behind the other one's gonna be darker under his arm here. And I'll add the black after. Since it's gonna cover it anyway, so that's my Y32. I'm not coloring the rest of his tail just because it's going to be in black. So just going to go back a bit on the body to put more depth here. and going through the colors, so that's why 38. And white 32. So now I'm just closing my markers. And I'm gonna add little black spot. So the top of his tail is gonna be darker. Actually, I'm gonna go with C9. Around his eye, I think I'm gonna put a patch there. Because why not, right? His little foot, or yeah, he's gonna have a little foot that's gonna be black a bit. I hope you can hear me. Just going down C5. I think I'm gonna give him like a little mask. He's gonna have some more here. It's gonna be lighter because it's towards the highlight here. So it's like almost a raccoon cat. And I'm gonna use my white 32 just to blend a little bit between the two colors. And on this side it's gonna be the wire 38. So I don't know, Sheila, if it fits for the orange and black cat. Black raccoon. And because purple's my favorite color, I'm gonna make him I'm gonna like put purple eyes. So once again, I'm gonna do the same thing around his eyes with my eyeliner 0.03. So just make the pupil really black. And then my darkest color is BV08, and I'm gonna go around the pupil, trying once again not to go in the empty spot there. But if you do, it doesn't matter, there's always white gel pen. So it's BV17. So just extend a bit, and I'm finishing with BV02. And just like the other little kitty, I'm putting back my little white spot with my white gel pen. And using the, he needs a pumpkin on the back of his broom like he stole it. Yeah, It's perfect cat burglar. It would be awesome. And once again, the white makes all the difference. It does look like a cat burglar. So what I'm gonna do this time, I won't forget, I'm gonna put the mask first. My little dude. And I'm gonna use the Bat and Moon stencil this time. So I'm gonna, once again, I'm gonna do the same thing. Putting a strip of tape here. So that doesn't move. Then putting my stencil on top of it, and with the magnet just hold it there. And this time I'm gonna do the green on the outside, and it's gonna no, the orange on the outside and green in the middle. So start with the green in the middle. So there might be better ways to a sponge, but that's the way I do it. So that's the Goblin Green, the new color. I love the name of it. I think it's hilarious, especially for a Halloween release, right? Now I'm just changing my little pads, because I have one little pad for each color, because I hate it when I mix my colors. So that's Pumpkin Patch, Kraftin Kimmie once again, and I'm just gonna do the rest of it. Oops. And I really need that station. So I always try to do a transition so I have the two color at the same time. Hey Kim, how's it going? I'm finishing my second Halloween tag right now. And you can see I always have cat hair a little bit everywhere. So that's my little doodad, my little boy. And let's remove the mask and see what we've got. Here he is, my little cat burglar. So once again, remove the tape in the back so it doesn't stick to my cutter. Kim is in Walmart. Okay, I wish I could, but I'm a little bit far and I think I'm kind of busy right now, so okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the same thing. So just actually, I'll put the sentiment first so I know where to cut. So this time, let's use just Happy Halloween from the set. Yeah, Kimberly. It's white. Well, actually, it looks gray, but it's white. Nice feeling. So I'm gonna use dark brown here again, because it just pops on craft. Yeah, I hope I didn't make you too sick. So I'll just put it behind because he's flying right below him, I mean. So a little happy Halloween here. And with the cutter once again. So, and like I said, there's absolutely no rhyme or reason to my cutting. So it's gonna be more triangly, but hey, that works. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue it again. This time I have green cardstock. And I'm sticking him. I'm trying to waste as little as I can. Obviously not working great. Oh, and one thing I like to do, sorry, is because I like to put a little bit of brown around the edges so it finishes it off. And now I can glue it. And I'm taking the cutter. So a different shape, and I'll show you, like I would always like to put some bling, some sparkle. So I have some, it's just stickles, right? And what I do is I don't like it when it's really thick or it takes forever to dry. So what I do is I just use the edge of the cardstock and I just press as I move. So I have very fine layer, and usually in 10 minutes it's dry. And the big plus, my wallet likes me because I don't use a whole lot of it, but I still have that bling. Forgot to put it on the other tags, but that's okay, he still looks pretty. And because I wasn't paying attention, I put a big blob there. So let's remove a bit of the blob. So this spot is just going to be a little bit longer to dry. So that's the other one. Obviously I would put holes with the crocodile, anyway, this. And I have a super fun little ribbon. Actually it's recycle. My sister-in-law gave me like candies for Halloween a couple of years back, and I kept all the ribbons, so I thought this one was really fun. Obviously I have to wait till it dries, like I just flip my ribbon in it, but that's pretty much it for tonight. So I'll just put them there. I don't know if you can see all of them, but there you go, all different kinds of little tags for Halloween. I hope you had fun.